It has been called the most exciting film of the year and the biggest film in a decade. The people who created it have won 15 Academy Awards. It has been in production for 3 years. It is the story of an ocean liner that capsizes, and it may be the greatest escape adventure of our time. Now, 20th Century Fox presents Irwin Allen's production of The Poseidon Adventure. Gene Hackman, Ernest Borgnine, Red Buttons, Carol Lindley, Roddy McDowell, Stella Stevens, and Shelley Winters in The Poseidon Adventure, the greatest escape adventure of our time. Who will survive? The Poseidon Adventure. Rated PG. Parental guidance suggested.
Hello, welcome back yet again. I hope you're coming back. If you're not coming back, welcome for the first time. Glad to have you. Come on in, take your shoes off. Jay Blake,
roll up us and get the sleeping bag down.
Yeah. We'll give you some soda and some maybe some popcorn, or if you want some hot cocoa or
some Mega Jolt Cola.
Some Kit Kats maybe, or some Twixes. And welcome to another edition of Saturday Night Movers Sleepovers. I'm Dion Baya. I'm here with Jay Blake.
As always, happy to be sharing this sleepover experience in a very nerdy way.
Yes, very heterosexual, friend, platonic way. And we're back again for another episode. And this week we're going to be talking a very interesting movie, to say the least. It is 1992's Mindwarp. A.K.A. Brain Slasher.
Brain Slasher. Yes, a classic. In my book, anyway.
Oh, yeah. Starring Bruce Campbell, Angus Scrimm, and introducing
Marta Alicia, as she's billed in that movie, but apparently in other films she's billed as Marta Martin.
Okay. And I don't know if this was her first role. I guess maybe she... Who knows?
Well, usually if it's introducing.
Yeah, it's usually. But I always introduce you every episode.
Now, we talked about this movie in sidecasts.
Did we?
We mentioned it briefly in our Bruce Campbell sidecast.
Okay.
Although I completely forgot about it when we then did our top 5 Bruce Campbell movies.
Oh, because you would have put that in there?
I definitely would have put this one in here. For no other reason other than that he's in the whole thing.
Oh. Most of it. He's in about 80% of it.
He's in most of it.
Yeah.
Which is a rarity for Bruce Campbell straight-to-video movies. And I think I might have mentioned it briefly when we talked about post-apocalyptic sci-fi movies.
Okay, that's good. If you guys out there don't know what the heck we're talking about, please go check out at podwits.com. Jay Blake and I do a thing there, a podcast called The Sidecast, where we talk about different topics ranging from genre movies to all kinds of movies. We do music as well there. We do comic books. So it's really just a jack of all trades cast.
We did toys. We did conventions.
We did conventions. We did collecting art collecting for a comic book or entertainment
movie
art.
Novelizations,
photo novels.
Classic episode.
We did the giallo genre, horror conventions.
Anyway,
we did action.
Lots of great
Go
stuff.
check it out. Go to thepodwits.com. It's the sidecast. Next we'll be showing you how to install Bilko doors in your backyard. And Jay Blake will be showing you how to stop that pesky leaky faucet on the second floor bathroom. That's the do-it-yourself, the DIY edition, DIY edition. But this week we're talking about Mindwarp, and it's weird. It's an interesting movie, to say the least. It's interesting to see how many people are going to listen to this cast. Because I didn't know the movie prior to you saying let's do the movie for the cast.
Well, partially, not even partially. When we discussed doing a sidecast a podcast like this one, we wanted to talk about movies, and we both kind of agreed that this idea of movies that we possibly would have watched at a sleepover when we were like in middle school or whatever, or very like a kind of our own genre or subgenre of movies in a lot of ways.
Yeah.
This is a movie, 1992, perfect year.
This fits the bill perfectly. This would have been definitely something that was either on TV, like USA Up All Night, you would have caught, or you go to the video store and like, you're checking the action section or the sci-fi section. You're like, this looks freaking awesome, and your dad's like, I don't know.
So that's why I really felt this would be a good one for us, because it is like the epitome of like early 90s straight to video fare. It's got Bruce Campbell, who's like at this point, like, not even Army of Darkness had come out yet. I mean, he hadn't made Army of Darkness yet. So he's really going off the success of the first 2 Evil Dead films at this point.
And Briscoe, right? Maybe?
Like, yeah, but I guess Briscoe was around this time.
Briscoe County Jr.
And
he had like
Scrimm,
that was great. That really surprised me, because I haven't seen him in anything else except the Phantasms. And for me, for some reason, I always associate him with, back in the day, growing up, if you ever go to the grocery store and you're waiting for your mom or father to check out, and you're sitting there near the front end, and you look up on the wall and they have like the pictures of the manager at the back when it was prestigious to be like the manager of that grocery store. I always think of like Angus Scrimm to be that one of those guys. He looks like one of the managers, like, hey, look, it's Bob Clark or somebody else who's like, the president of that Pathmark or whatever.
Yeah.
So, and I never seen him in anything else. It was very interesting. I was like, ooh, look at him. I'm to see him in it. And it's such a weird movie. Now, it's interesting. 1992.
The other thing that's worth mentioning is that, like, in 1992, this is Fangoria magazine.
Yes, so it is a Fangoria picture, right?
They've decided that they're going to start trying to make movies. So I believe this is the first one they did. So it's not like that big of a surprise that like Bruce Campbell and Angus Scrimm would end up in it. So it's like Fangoria Pictures. It's their first stab at trying to go with a straight to video film market. Do you think that was the intention? That was my question was going to be, back then when Campbell got the script or Angus got the script, do you think that they thought, is there an example you can think of an actor or a project that was done that was considered to be, I guess you can say maybe Jaws, where it's like you didn't think it was going to be that big, but then it just, it does gangbusters and it gets a theatrical release, or maybe Night of the Living Dead or something like that? But yeah, I mean, you're talking about like of that era,
or just ever? I mean,
I guess I would say most. I would say most of the really popular, especially horror movies that we think of today, the big franchises.
Yeah.
No one thought Halloween was going to make that kind of money. Nobody thought Nightmare on Elm Street.
Well,
was going to be as big as it was.
Did they going into it? Did they like? I guess my point is, going into this project, would they have thought this was never going to see the light of day and they intended it to get a straight-to-video release, or did they think they had high hopes and their lofty expectations was, maybe it will be so good in post that it could get a theatrical release and get screened at certain festivals and get some buzz?
Yeah, I don't know, because we're talking about 1992, which is kind of going into the late 80s, into the early 90s. The straight-to-video market was huge.
Yeah.
So, I mean, had this movie been made like 10 years earlier, I would expect that they were probably shooting, with the goal of some kind of theatrical release.
And this is prior to the phenomenon that I sort of saw start happening in 2000, 2001, where you'd have major celebrities doing straight-to-videos, which is now, I guess, commonplace. You can have, you can probably name everybody now who's done a movie that they didn't know was going to go to straight to video, or maybe they knew they were just getting a payday, and that really didn't seem to happen back then. You'd have a lot of people like Bruce Campbell, Lance Henriksen. You'd have a lot of these guys, the Australian dude who's in Commando and Road Warrior. Like these, you'd see these people, these players, and you'd expect them to be in these kind of movies, but you wouldn't necessarily have like a Seagal or a Van Damme. They would usually get a theatrical release.
Yeah, well, that's the thing is, I mean, like, I think we're a little bit too young. At least I feel like I'm too young, so I think you're too young.
I'm in my 80s.
to Like, yeah, okay, like I saw Van Damme's Double Impact in the movie theater.
What year's that?
I don't know. A very awkward viewing experience as my mom took me.
Is that Double Impact the '90s one? Is that
It's in the 90s, yeah.
Is that the one where he's at the twin?
It's like his first twin movie.
He's got a couple. I saw Cyborg in the movie theater.
Well, that was going to be my question. Like, how many of those Van Damme... Like, did all of them go to the movie theater?
Yeah, you had Bloodsport was theater. Which one is Bloodsport? Is that the one where he's fighting with what's his face when he's going
Bolo.
in Bolo? Yeah,
Yeah,
that's with Forrest Whitaker's in that. So then,
Yeah.
what's the one where where he goes out and he trains and he comes back and they put the glass on the Kickboxer. That got I think a little theatrical release. And then what's the prison one? That really weird one.
Yeah, I was just thinking about that.
I don't know.
Recently. I can never remember the name of it.
But I think those were the steps up, and then Cyborg certainly got a theatrical release because I saw it, and then I think he got on top, and then every movie up, even Universal Soldier, Time Cop.
What about all those like that run of like Chuck Norris movies? Did those all get theatrical release?
Chuck's movies got theatrical releases, I'd say, up until maybe the late '80s. He did a couple, all the Missing in Action movies were huge. Invasion USA was really huge in like '85, I think that is. And then Sidekicks, which is like early '90s, that got a theatrical release.
Yeah. Well, anyway, so my question, I guess my thing is I don't know. I mean,
that's something.
I'm trying to think of what.
If you ever interview Campbell again, you'll have to ask him. Like not pose like, what the hell were you thinking? But more like, do you look at these kind of projects like it's a paycheck, or do you think this could maybe go someplace?
I think Campbell's attitude, for the most part, is,
because for people who don't know, you've interviewed him before.
Yeah, we had a really good discussion. Not so much about his acting career, so I can't answer that directly from experience of talking to him about it. But I would imagine, just like through the discussion that I had with him, and then reading about him, and what I do know about him, I think he's like, I want to say he's not. It's not that he's like not picky, but I think he's like he has the understanding like an actor needs to act. And some people, are a little bit snobbish about the kinds of roles they would take, but like if you can pay your bills as an actor, and that's what you want to do with your, your life. I mean, there's a difference between being like, box office, superstar, and being a guy like Bruce Campbell, who's had he's been able to make a living as an actor since like 1980. There's not too many people that can say that. There's the character actor, like Ernie.
Oh. I didn't want to mention, but yeah, exactly.
Who
Ernest Borgnine.
These guys make a living in kind of, as not leading men, although, Marty and stuff. I mean, they all, often have a leading role in something that's usually pretty great, because most of these guys are really great actors. But they play like smaller parts. Now, Campbell's been a guy that's been able to kind of straddle the line. He's been the leading man. But he also, like, he'll show up for like 5 minutes just so that you can put his name on a box.
Yeah, the end of Dark Man. But it's an interesting picture. Mindwarp, I knew nothing about it. I didn't really, once you brought it up to watch, I didn't really want to go look about it, really.
Yeah. Just went to experience
it fresh. And the one we watched, here's, first of all, for people who are interested in seeing it, this is the big thing.
This is.
I mean, after we say, should we have waited to the end because people are going to turn it off after this? Is it available? Is it on YouTube, or is it?
I don't know if it's on YouTube. That's worth looking into.
Is it available on DVD?
It's the only DVD it's available on right now is a really crappy transfer from some kind of European source.
And that's what we watched.
That's what we watched.
Okay.
Now that one is on Brain Slasher is
it's
the
called
main title.
Brain Slasher, yeah.
And it actually has more gore than Mindwarp.
Oh.
Other than that, Mindwarp is, I think the only way you can find it is like VHS, which is like also kind of perfect sleepover movie.
Yeah, that's because that's what this cast was designed for.
Now, the DVD that I had, that I got you a copy of, so that we could do this cast, I couldn't get it to work in my living room player. I got it to work in the bedroom, but my TV in the bedroom is like a shitty like CRT. I've had it since college.
But isn't that perfect?
It was kind of perfect, but it was so dark.
A tube television?
It was like I was getting.
But you'd seen it before, right?
I had seen it. Okay. I've seen it a couple times, but I was like halfway through the movie, and it was like they're underground. We'll go into the plot in a second, but it's like it's really dark and kind of contrasting.
It really, really screams and begs for a proper re-release, just a remaster.
So I actually went into the other room, dusted off the VHS, and I actually watched the last half of the movie on VHS.
Was there a quality improvement? I mean, just for...
Yeah, it was significantly better,
Wow.
oddly enough.
Yeah.
It was more like the contrast. It was just like the one we...
You know what you should do then? You should rip the VHS onto DVD for us, and we'll have a better... Because this one looked like a VHS source.
Yeah, yeah.
You know what I mean? It was the framing was 4:3, what do you call that?
Yeah, it was...
TV. It was TV.
Yeah.
You know, so it wasn't like we're losing an aspect ratio.
It was definitely like... It was definitely, I think, it must have been from like the whatever that country's VHS.
Yeah, when it came out in circa 92 or 93. I was going into the movie thinking it was going to be cheesy. A lot of these movies, you think, okay, No, but I mean...
it is, to a certain
yeah, it is.
extent.
It is cheesy. I mean, you could say what you want about it. I know people, if you sit down and you watch it, people will rail against it. But there's a lot of cool stuff going on in it. And I hate to... Every time we do these casts, end up being a proponent for these movies, but they, it's like maybe I'm giving them too much credit, but there's a lot of cool stuff in here where you think at first through the movie it was going to be just rip off of this movie, this story,
yeah.
But then it has enough twists, and it's almost like you're doing this. They always say the adage is that everything's been done. It's just how you do it, and this is a perfect example here.
This is this is a sci-fi movie that takes a lot from the genre. I mean, we're talking about 92, so there's a very big like Total Recall element to it. I mean, it's kind of like nowadays, and I know you did a podcast with the Podwits about like asylum movies and stuff. There is this whole what has taken over as kind of the straight-to-video market is this whole idea of like the mockbuster, which has always been done, and we've talked about how Italy's been doing it forever. We don't need to talk about it too much, but this is very much in that vein. I mean, it was clear that
but it's not like Asylum will do almost not homages but rip-offs. Instead of Transformers, Asylum will put out Transmorphers. Or instead of the day the Earth stood still, you'd have the day the Earth stopped. But this one is more like taking aspects of, like you said, Total Recall, or The Matrix, which hadn't even come out yet. Has aspects of The Matrix, or Blade Runner, which is Philip K. Dick's We Can Remember It For You Wholesale. And and then a slew of other sci-fi movies from years past, because I feel like they're still...
Yeah, it was like somebody sat down and was like, let's do a sci-fi movie, and then like took their favorite thing from every subgenre other than like space exploration and maybe even time travel, but like most subgenres of sci-fi they could pick, and took like their favorite elements and like packed it all into one neat package.
I'll give you everyone the plot of the movie. If you refer to IMDb, this is what it says on IMDb, which might as well be the back of the box, I guess, the video.
When you read it, I'll tell you if it is what's on the back of the box. I was looking at the actual VHS tape.
Look at you, the box, and I should have brought it.
I should have brought it in
just to examine, to have a piece of it. We'll use Jay Blake's VHS cover as the cover for the poster this week. Here's the synopsis: a young woman in a post-apocalyptic world rebels against the status quo, in which everyone lives their lives out in a virtual reality fantasy world of their own choosing, with consequences she couldn't have imagined. And that is the IMDb synopsis for it. And IMDb rates it 5.2 out of 10 stars, which is actually considerably good for IMDb, because a movie like this, I think, would fare at least a 4, if not lower.
Yeah, this was a movie, when we talked about, when we did our Bruce Campbell cast for Podwits, we talked about how, like, in college, I kind of... I wouldn't say it was an obsession, but I got really into Bruce Campbell and Bruce Campbell movies and stuff, and Evil Dead. And so this was a movie that I discovered at that time.
How did you find it? You mean you just like a video store, or would you go to like a convention?
I think I must have rented it.
So yeah, I guess at that time it was still available.
I don't think I had bought it. I don't think I bought it the first time I watched it. I think I bought it later. And my VHS is probably like a video store was going out of business, probably, selling off their inventory. So I probably bought that copy of it.
I'm more impressed that you don't that you don't have. Not only do you not have it's not a taped one. You have an actual bought copy of this film.
I have.
You know what I mean? It's not like you taped it off a TV like HBO or something. That you actually have a bought version of this movie. So it's like, who can get that now? Did you check on eBay to see like how much this is going for?
I don't know, because it is kind of rare. It would be interesting to see. I mean, I can't imagine it's going for that much, but
it's 50-50. It'll be really, really expensive or just really cheap, $5 free shipping.
But basically, in a nutshell, the movie starts. There's this young woman who lives with her mother in this like enclosed, isolated,
like a little room.
Yeah,
a very polished, clean, white
very
room. Very futuristic.
Like the quarters of like an ensign on Next Generation.
Yeah.
Enterprise with less shit in there. There's nothing in there.
Well, there is there's just like there's kind of a window with a false kind of like shrubbery, which looks fake, but I think it's not supposed to be real even in their world.
Because basically the idea is that there's a community of people that live in like this biodome or something, like this enclosed area, and they never leave because
there's been some sort of nuclear...
Yeah, so the world is destroyed. The ozone is gone.
This is a post-apocalyptic world. They're living underground. Very, I guess, almost THX kind of a thing where they're underground.
So they can't, the idea is that they can't survive outside, so they live here. And to pass the time, they basically live plugged into a computer with like a virtual reality thing going on, and they only disconnect so that they can use the can or drink green sludge.
Yeah, they eat this food, which is just like shit out of this this machine on the wall, which looks very much like a snow cone cups, and then it's green. It's like that green whatever you eat like on the moon or up in space, and then it's but it's not virtual reality in the sense we would think. I was thinking like it was going to be like Lawnmower Man stuff, but it's just their fantasies.
Like Total Recall.
Yeah, it's like them living out. They can do like her mother. She shares the place with her mom, and her mom's like dreaming of being like an opera star on stage.
Yeah,
so
like you couldn't kind of do anything.
Yeah, and she alludes to that later on. She says, "I shook hands with our lead actress." She said, "I've shook hands with gods."
She rode dinosaurs.
Yeah, she's tried to build planets, whatever you can
think
of.
And the idea is
like
in any good, like in a Star Wars-esque, like part, like device, a character. She's longing for more.
Yeah,
like she's
sick of plugging in. She's gotten bored. She unplugs. She gets up. You're only supposed to, like her mom alludes to. You're only supposed to unplug or like you even said, to go to the bathroom and to eat. But she's actually doing exercises, on her own. And then as opposed to her mom, who gets up, who's completely almost forgetful of what's going on consciously. I think she calls her by the wrong name, and she's like, "Mom, my name's Judy."
Like the mom's spaced out.
Her mom looks highly almost like medicated, and then her mom goes back, plugs right back in. And it's interesting, and it's quite disturbing for me, just I don't know, aesthetically, that they have these little like miniature hookups on the base of their skull, in the back of their necks.
Very Matrix in that.
And it just freaks me
out.
Except
for it's like the connection is like the port that your monitor connects
it's like
to
a VGA. It's a VGA plug that they're plugging into, and it's and then like they have a close up of when they plug in. So they get into this chair, which is almost like a futuristic like dentist chair where they can lounge, and they put their card in so that the computer knows.
They have like an identification card.
Yeah, they put that in, and then so the computer knows who it's going to be, and they plug it, and then they're off to the races. And then mom comes out. She's like, "Mom, I want to talk to you." And mom's like, "I'm going to go back." And why aren't you doing stuff? Why aren't you doing it too? Why aren't you?
We should say, like with all Saturday night movie sleepovers, that we are going to spoil the fuck out of this.
Yeah, we're going to spoil the shit out of it. So hopefully you guys know that already and are still along for the ride. if not, if you can go find this movie, and if you even care to go find this movie, then go find it, watch it.
I mean,
come
I'm
back.
also not sure how much spoiling some of these things is really gonna.
Yeah, because I mean,
affect
it's
the-
23 years old, this movie by this point. So she, and then so mom goes back in, and then it's interesting. There's a point where mom is in there, and then they start the body exercise mode. So you see your mom, or just her mom starts, her different muscles on her body start exercising on their own. So the computer's doing it. So you assume that's what they're doing. It's almost like what's the Disney movie with the robot? The animated one that came out a couple years ago.
Oh yeah.
And then they're up and everyone's up in space on. Not Qbert or K-Pax or.
Yeah.
Oh crap! It was actually really good too.
Mac. I know the one you're talking about.
Yeah, but it's like that concept where everyone's up in space, and they're sitting in these computers and everyone's fat and obese. Except in this world, they're not because they're
all
eating
they
this
drink
sludge.
is green sludge.
So she longs to get out.
She longs to have like human contact, have real adventures, reality, blah blah blah. Long story short, so things happen. She gets in some trouble with the system's operator because she's like, "I want out of here," and then
Well, the thing says to it's almost like a caution. You sure you want to go out?
Yeah.
You sure you want to go up there? And he's like, "Yeah, I do." And then he's like, "Okay, suit yourself." And then,
she wakes up and she's in like this desert wasteland.
yeah, well, she goes in to try to. What she first does is she tries to go. She's like, I'll wake my mom up, and she's able to jump into her mom's dream, which is very interesting. And she ends up messing around with her mom's dream. Her mom falls in the dream and falls off on the ground off stage. And then when she talks to the server, and the server's like, you're not supposed to do that kind of thing. And then we have that conversation. She's like, suit yourself. When she wakes up, her mom's dead in the chair next to her, so she kills her mom, and she's not really bothered about killing her mom.
Well, she's a little like, I didn't mean to kill her.
I didn't know we were going to do that, and then like we have like the THX / like SWAT team squad come grab her, and they stick a needle in her. Next thing she knows, she wakes up and she's on the surface of the planet. And she's like, where is everybody?
She's in the what's it called in the
Yeah, we need to start referring to our notes now.
In the death zone.
Yeah, and her name is Judy Apple in the movie. And then she's looking around. She runs into a
She's
loner.
also fatherless. Like her father disappeared, which kind of is important to the plot.
Yeah, and we're like, what's happened?
Like the mother, she's like, I plugged in, and when I unplugged, he was gone, and nobody knows really what happened to him. And she has his card, his identification card.
The daughter still keeps it.
Yeah, as like a souvenir.
And she comes out in this wasteland. She's looking around. She's not knowing what's going on, and she sees these people in the distance.
Yeah.
And first she comes across all these
It's like crucified skeletons.
and it kind of looks like a desert wasteland where she is.
Yeah, and of course she falls into some quicksand.
Yeah, and she starts screaming and yelling, and we see there's this masked man who's living like in the post-apocalyptic world hears her screaming.
Living off of things that he catches in like animal traps.
And
very frontier existence.
He's doing his thing and his goggles on. We don't know who he is. And then he hears her screaming. First he hears her calls, like, anybody there? And he starts trying to figure out what's going on. She falls in a quicksand. She starts screaming. And then these post-apocalyptic creatures find her, which is kind of like, here's the Mad Max aspect for a moment where they've got it's funny, they have a tractor which has been like all modified, and the tractor's not going to get them there that far. So it's very slow, but they all look like very mutant kind of things. And they're called crawlers. And they go to try to get her, and then our man intervenes, kills both of them, saves her, and then he takes his mask off, and hey, it's Bruce Campbell. What are you doing
young,
here?
Dashing Bruce Campbell.
Yeah, very handsome Bruce Campbell, and he's like, hey, how are you?
5 o'clock shadowed.
Yeah, always the 5 o'clock shadow, and he's like, you can't be out during
In
the
the
day.
sun,
yeah, because you don't have any protected clothing. Let's go back to my place. He brings her back to his little shitbox place, like his shantytown house, and he washes her off, and he's trying to explain the lay of the
Feeds her
land.
some possum.
Yeah, and he's talking. He says, you're an in-worlder, and you were hooked up to the system, and so he's well aware of the other world these people are living in, and he's like, why the heck?
Yeah, that's one of the things I find interesting. It's like basically this is like a caste
Because he said he thinks he was the last man on Earth. He even admits, he's like, I thought I was the last one alive because his parents were there.
Yeah. He knows that the crawlers exist.
Yeah.
And he is a outworlder. He's an outworlder. She's a dreamer.
Yeah, and she's an in-worlder. He's an outworlder. His name's Stover.
Yeah. So there's a very at the center of this movie is like a class struggle.
There's a lot of stuff going on in this movie. There's a lot of we'll get on later on.
There's definitely 3 separate classes, and the dreamers are like the rich people. Even she feels like when she ends up, which we'll get to probably. We'll get to where they all end up underground in the crawlers world.
Yeah,
which they're essentially CHUD. I mean, they're.
It's crazy. But,
they're mutants. They're cannibals.
The other thing we didn't mention is that the name of the thing is called the Infinisynth.
Oh, Infinisynth, yeah, which is the computer system that's like where they live within their dreams.
So they live in Infinisynth, and it has its own little logo that she sees later on, and then everyone knows what Infinisynth is as well. But so Campbell's there with her, and Campbell's like, hey, he's washing her off and everything like that. And, there's he's talking about who are the people on the cross. He's like, oh, those are people I've buried. You can't bury them in the ground because the crawlers live underground and they'll steal them and they'll eat them because they're cannibals.
Yeah. So it wasn't like punishment. It was to kind of preservation.
Yeah, which is, I guess, cultures have done that in the past. There's a lot of Native American cultures that would bury people in the air or like in, just so that predators wouldn't get at them, and this is an example of that. And then he ends up bedding her like everyone does. And
there's how much time do you think's passed?
Oh, I think only like an afternoon.
I really think it's not even like...
It's like a night.
I remember when I was watching it, I felt like there was a little bit of time. No, not like a year or anything.
Oh, I thought. Oh, you think that they've been living together for a little while?
Yeah,
because he's showing her like the ropes.
Yeah, I feel like there's.
Oh, you're right. You're right, because there's a montage of him like showing her like here's how you could tell where the quicksand is, and here's where you could tell where it is. So you have to watch out where you walk. So yeah, I guess you're right. There is like.
I mean, it's not like a completely well done like passage of time montage happening, but I feel like there's supposed to be like at least a couple of days, probably more like a week or two.
Okay, yeah,
you're right. He's trying to show her how to survive in this world that she's never been in.
And it's funny, like
So he's not so much of a scoundrel.
Well, they start talking about the system, which is the computer, the Infinisynth, and he's like, asking her about it, and she's like, there's no religion in the machine. You can do whatever you want. And then, Bruce like puts his arm around her, and Bruce's come on line is, but what have you really experienced? Wink, wink. And she's like, well, and then of course you have the scene of them doing it, and we have a little quick,
very tasteful.
Yeah, tasteful montage of like some naked bodies. I don't think you see anything.
Just like caressing on her back or like her side.
And then they're done and they're laying together, and she's like, wow. And he's like, you really never done that before? And she's like, no, that was my first time. And he's like, score.
No, he hadn't been with anybody since his wife died.
Yeah.
Who's the person on the cross.
Yeah, because Bruce is still wearing a wedding ring, and his parents are on the cross, his mom and dad, his wife. And did they all, from crawlers, did they all die? Or did they say how his family died?
I don't remember them saying how they died. He just kind of indicates that he was like the last of his tribe, his family, kind of. And then instantly
all hell breaks.
There's a sound outside. Campbell's alert. She's like, what's wrong? And then they instantly get attacked by crawlers.
Yeah, which is interesting because I wonder if his place has been, obviously he's had his place hidden. It's like Newton Aliens. It's like, his place is someplace where he's been able to live there for probably an extended period of time, and I wonder why the crawlers have not yet tried to attack him, which leads me to believe that they didn't know where he was until now, so they've either stumbled across him or...
Well, I think it has to do...
With the girl?
It has to do with...
The sex in the air?
The fact that...
They can smell it?
The smell of sex.
Yeah, they're like something's going down.
No, and I think it's a reasonable assumption that those two guys never came back.
Oh, yeah, so they start looking.
Campbell kills two of them.
Yeah, and then I guess they are kind of looking for him. So they go in... They wreck his place. They grab both of them and they bring them. And this is a real scary sequence. They bring them underground. That for me, again, making references to other sci-fi movies or sci-fi properties. It's like the Time Machine. H.G. Wells is where it's like these people that are living underground. Where in the Time Machine you have this beautiful future utopia, but underground it's like these people are enabling them to have this utopia so they can eat them. And this is these underground, like not mole people, but these scavengers who are like you said, they're cannibals. They're like the Reavers in the other movies.
Like Firefly. And
Firefly. Yeah, it's like it's all those ideas into one. They're not like Mad Max Road Warrior people who are trying to survive. They're mutated mutants, chuddish people who are just very stupid.
They're
You're right. They're cannibalistic humanoid underground dwellers, and they're like the Chud. They can barely communicate, if anything. They look horrible, which I guess is either to do with the effects of being on the surface,
or just
mutations from radiations or whatever.
Yeah, definitely.
They can't breed. We find
out that they can't breed, and so basically they pull them underground. They put Campbell to work because it's basically a mining community.
Yeah,
and they're mining junk. They're mining trash.
They're mining whatever is. They're trying to find what's been left of our.
They're living like in an old landfill.
Yeah.
So they're basically mining like the artifacts of the past generations,
the human civilization, which they don't know clearly.
Yeah, it's like a baby rattle,
or like one point they Campbell ends up finding like a food processor, or they find a steering wheel, but they don't know what they are. They're just looking at it and like, is this useful? And then they put it in a thing, and they're taking it away for someone to go look at later on.
To see, is it useful or is it just trash?
Yeah,
and then they take the girl, they take Judy, and they take her to a place where basically we find out that she's basically going to be used for breeding.
Yeah, nobody's fertile anymore. She's fertile because she's young, and you meet Cornelia and you meet Claude. Cornelia is kind of good looking for like an early '90s kind of way.
She looks familiar.
Yeah,
like she
looks like a scream queen. She looks like she's had some work done at that point.
She looks like she could have been. I don't know this for sure, and we should probably have looked it up. But she looks like she could have been like one of Khan's.
Oh, one of Khan's
doesn't she
bitches.
look like the guy, like Khan's son? Doesn't she look like him? Like she looks like she could have been like in. She's like blonde.
Wrath of Khan, and she has that look. But at this point, she's had some work done, and I would say she's probably in her mid-40s, late 40s in this movie.
Yeah, probably.
And at first, you think it's going to go one way. They're going to be there to help her, really nice, and they string her up, and they're saying, no, you're going to be there for breeding purposes until they find the implant or the input on the back of her neck, and they're like, oh, you're actually from the in-world. You're from Unisynth, and she's like, yeah, you have to free me.
Yeah, this becomes like very entitled of like this. That's what I was saying earlier. Like she becomes very like, I'm of a higher class. Like you can't treat me this way.
Well, sure. I think she thinks that that's gonna have some pull. She's like, if she goes two ways with it. She's like, let me go because you have to, because like you say, I'm from a higher class. Or she's like, or you can let me go and I'll take you with me, and then I'll so she's throwing every card out she has. I'll bring you back with me.
She
and
doesn't
you can have this
want to get raped by a big fucking mutant.
No. And really, at the end of the day, who really does? And it's funny because she's also she's having this issue of suddenly it's like freaking. Jimmy Stewart from It's a Wonderful Life, where she's like, I don't want to do this anymore. Bring me back, Clarence. Bring me back, Or she's in Clarence like, George Bailey, you can't do that. And because she's like, oh, the machine was better off being in the machine instead of this reality. And they bring her to the to the dude, and it's interesting as well. I found this also. When they bring her to the man, and the man is the guy who's like looking at all the junk.
Yeah,
and he's sorting it
like their king, kind of. But there's also a very like religious leader.
Well, this is another aspect which is really weird. I found the culture down there is very vicious. I mean, you see like they're killing each other. She at one point, the Cornelia character, she disciplines one of the guys by cutting his ear off. And that's it. And the guy runs away, and it's like, And I have to say, the two standout things for me, as cheesy as it is, I thought the makeup effects, like the masks of these people, look amazing.
Well, it's K&B did the effects for it. So, I mean, they weren't, at their peak yet. But, I mean, Greg Nicotero, Kenny Berger. I mean, these guys were talented guys. So this is probably, I would imagine, a pretty early project for
but it's
them
still
as a
good.
Company.
And then even the gore. Well, there's a lot of which is now tame for modern day audiences, but there's a lot of like slash to the throat and blood everywhere, or guts flying out all over people's faces, and that's quite impressive for the low budgetry of it. So when they bring her to the leader to talk to the leader of this group, I got very much of like the Sly Stallone version of Judge Dredd. Remember when they go out, and they meet the Hick family out in the. I had a little like shades of that. I mean, of course, prior because this is '92.
Do you remember who plays the head of that family?
No, I do not.
It's the guy that plays Herschel.
Oh yeah, that is him. Who's in that other movie,
Dead.
Behind the Mask? He's in that movie as well, and he's also in another movie. There's a great the New Centurions, a cop movie from the early '70s with George C. Scott. He's in as well. That's interesting.
Yeah, I could have been around a long time. But we digress.
Yeah, we always digress. That should be the subtitle of this podcast. What we digress. Of the series. So she brings into this, and this guy speaks English, and this guy also, he can communicate, and he's no, this is junk, this isn't like.
And he wears like a hood, like this really scary hood.
Yeah.
Where you can see his eyes and his mouth is kind of revealed. And then in the hood, like sewn into the hood are like eyeballs. Just like, but not like just like dangling off, but like set nice into the fabric. You see like these eyes kind of like looking out, so it almost looks like he has multiple eyes, but it's really just this creepy hood, very like Scarecrow kind of esque, very
it's very very disturbing. And then he takes the mask off, and lo and behold, it's Angus Scrimm
with like a beautiful comb over.
Yeah, I mean he's looking pretty sweet. But since we are doing spoiler alerts, at the beginning of the movie, the person she was talking to, I immediately picked up, even though his voice is all synthetic and they try to make it computerized. That's Angus as well.
Oh, so you knew that?
Oh yeah, I could tell. I was like, oh okay, that's So I was like, well, where's this going? And I didn't know.
Well, we also see that the picture of the person, her father, on the identification card in the beginning is Angus Scrimm.
Oh, I didn't make that connection.
See, I didn't pick up on the. I mean, I've seen it a few times, so I knew. But I remember, wouldn't have picked up on the fact that the.
Well, he's got a very unique voice. I mean, like you're looking for
that the system operator would have been Angus Scrimm. But yeah, the picture on the identification card is Angus Scrimm.
And she takes the mask off, but at first she doesn't initially make the connection, does she? She's not like daddy as soon as she takes the mask, the thing off.
Yeah, I don't remember.
There's a period of time. He takes the mask off. He starts talking to her about stuff, and what they do is they end up. Why do they sacrifice Claude, the younger girl that's with Claude?
Yeah, like a mute girl.
Yeah, for some reason she did something bad, or she, and this is really
she was going to help Judy escape,
and they catch her. And this is a really interesting aspect. They have this whole machine set up, right? Which at the top is an altar. You go up on top of it, and then to the right, and it's very like industrialized. It's very like put together with all different parts, So it's like it almost looks like a slaughterhouse kind of thing. They put her down like a slide into they turn it on, and it's just like a meat grinder. And it's a slicer, meat grinder, and they slice her, and they go in. She goes in, and then it just literally turns you into mush and liquid, and then it comes
attached to the machine is like the fountain, is like a water fountain.
Yeah, like a school water fountain, and then at the other end,
blood comes out the spigot once you go in, and then all the blood kind of rushes in through a pipe into a
like a bathing tub,
a
porcelain tub, and then what they do is they have these skulls that are upside down. They use as like chalices.
Yeah, so they all scoop it up.
It's an interesting concept. So here comes the religious connotations of it, where he starts saying like, "This is a really good thing what we're doing. We're choosing her to pass on."
Yeah.
And their whole ideal is since they live in such a shitty world. He later justifies this to her daughter. He's like, I found these people; they had no structure. And I've given them religion in a sense where he's giving them, where he's saying, since we live in this shitty world, we're going to eventually hope to go on like this girl is, and we're giving her the release of becoming a dreamer, and we all hopefully will go on to be reincarnated into dreamers, and then once they destroy her and they send her off on her mythical journey, which they all end up wanting to do. They take the blood that's left that this machine that's what's left of your body. It's a juicer. It's a huge juicer. They drink the blood because this is the last thing on Earth that she's leaving. This is the gift that she's leaving on Earth.
She's,
like she's turning into the body and the blood. So it's very much the religious.
There's an aspect of very early on in the ceremony, which doesn't make any sense given like the explanation that you just gave, which is the explanation. You know, like I'm not saying you're off, but the very first thing he does is he takes out their eye. He just rips their eye out.
Yeah, he does. He takes one of their eyes and he keeps it, and he doesn't eat it. Maybe he's adding it to his mask.
You never see what happens to it. I guess you assume that it goes into the mask.
Yeah, so that's step one of the rituals. He rips her eye out.
Because later on, he tries to, unsuccessfully, take out somebody's eye. You know, in the climax.
Yeah.
So it wasn't like he just took that girl's eye out. Like, clearly that's part of the ritual.
Yeah, the first thing they do, and then after it's done, you know, they say, you know, they drink the blood in hopes that they too, all of them at the mass, quote unquote mass, will be also reborn into the dream, which is interesting. And then we find out after
they go back to work.
Yeah, then they go back to
like,
work.
All right.
You know, and it's a shame that we watched such a shitty copy of it, because it looks like there's a lot of detailed aspects of where they're in, because, you know, half the movie, like we said earlier, we alluded to, it's in the dark.
Yeah.
So it's hard to see.
Underground,
So if we were to have like a nice Blu-ray, you know, like remaster of this bad boy, I bet you there's a lot of detail there of them, like, you know, digging in the mines.
Get Scream Factory or somebody on it.
Yeah.
Nice
You should write a nice email to Lusting and say, hey, look, here's a good movie I think you should get on to. So then after the mass, she realized, she's like, Dad, it's you. And he's like, yes, it is me. I didn't know it was going to be you, and I've forgotten, and how's your mother? And I needed to get out of there and I came here, and it was, did he say it was a mistake too? And he says, we're two peas in a pod. You two want it different. You're like me. You didn't want to stay with the status quo. You came out. This is the reality now. Yeah. I found these people. I'm trying to make a new civilization out here. I've given them religion. I'm having them. They have some sort of class system now where they're trying to do things. They have this mind. So all this is going on. We're having this discussion of philosophy and what's happening. We cut back to Campbell. Campbell's down there working.
He's working hard.
And we've realized also there's a subplot of this which is real freaky. There's the water that's down there. They have these slugs, which is very Night of the Creeps, where there's these slugs down in this water, and if they touch you, they'll start eating you and they'll get inside of you. And they move like piranhas, but they're kind of self-aware where you can smack them off and they'll fly off and they'll go back into the water. And if you get enough of them, we learn later on, if you get enough of them on you, what they'll do is the males will attack you. They'll go into your body. They'll lodge on the nerve system to calm you down. The female goes into the base of your brain. And she lays eggs onto your brain, because they can open up, and they'll use that, I guess, as
they, like, eat your brain.
Yeah, as nutrition until they pop out, and then at the same time, the males are calming you down and leaving you like in a state of euphoria, so it doesn't really bother you. Well, very freaky.
Yeah, it's like that's the explanation, but then like the payoff of that, like, ultimately doesn't make any sense. Ultimately, what we're getting at is that eventually Campbell tries to uprise.
Yeah, he finds the food processor, finds a blade, he gets ready to go.
He wants to save Judy, and he wants to get out of there.
Yeah, basically, he got a piece of Judy, and he's
but
like,
it doesn't end up working out. So what they do is they stick him in a cage that's like
very circa Deer Hunter,
very Deer Hunter. Like the top of it's hanging out of the water. He's kind of in the water up to his like neck, kind of up to his shoulders.
And then all these things fucking attack him, and
then he gets like comatose because they've all like latched on.
Well, he's screaming for a good scene and a half, and then finally you see very disgusting. You see the thing like in his skin go up to the base of his skull into his brain. Then he stops. And then Angus explains what we just said to his daughter. Blah, 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 blah. He's dead already.
But I'm getting,
and we're like, poor freaking Bruce.
But like once like she gets, you know, a lot of stuff happens. Excuse me, and we'll get back to, you know, we'll backpedal a little bit to get to some of the important plot points. But ultimately, eventually, when the climax starts to happen and she pulls Campbell out of the water, there's like ones on the outside of him. And, like, she brushes those off.
They look almost like leeches.
Yeah. And then he starts to, like, come to. So that's my question. Like, I'm not positive, but I feel like...
I don't even know if she brushes off, but I feel
like...
she
takes, like, a piece of...
Yeah, I feel like there's she takes a knife.
She just kind of scrapes
and
them
she
off.
starts... I thought she was slicing him open a little bit, too.
Oh,
and getting
really?
Him, you know, see, the quality was so bad.
I thought she was just, like, you know, a la, like...
Yeah, like a leech. You're just cutting it off.
Like Rambo First Blood Part 2. Like, you know, he take the knife and just kind of peeling him off. I thought she was just kind of peeling him off. So then I started to think, okay, maybe the males stay on the outside.
And the females in.
And kind of, you know, get him comatose, and then the female goes inside to. I mean, ultimately, it doesn't really matter what is.
Yeah, well, she can't get the
what's
thing out of
the,
his, and Angus tells his daughter like, he's already, it's already a foregone conclusion that he's dead, and it's like, oh no, poor Bruce, because the movie isn't over yet, and Bruce has already got like a death sentence, and then Angus is like, well, listen, little lady, he's like, you're fertile, I'm fertile, even though you're my daughter. That's out of the window. I want some taboo love, and we're going to start a next generation.
Yeah. Well, he's like, screw like conventional. He's like, we need to repopulate this place, and we're the only two that can do it.
And you're going to be my queen. You can rule by my side. And she's like, no, Dad. And he's like, yes. We need to do it. Don't you care about anything? So then it turns into like he wants to like put his men in the water with her, and she's like, no. And then this starts the act 3 of the climax where she starts running around. She gets Bruce out of the thing. He's somewhat coherent now after she scrapes everything off. She kills Cornelia, the other girl, Cornelia. She kills her in the area she was first brought to. She turns on the bullhorn, which is like the air raid warning that it gets everybody scrambling. They all run up to the mass area. They think there's another mass, and Dad's like to her, like, well, if you're not gonna, Angus is like, if you're not gonna do it, I'm gonna sacrifice you now.
Yeah.
And he goes to try to sacrifice her. Bruce comes to the rescue, I guess again.
I guess, yeah.
Right, because Bruce comes back this time, so she doesn't let Bruce out. I don't. Maybe Bruce is undercover at this point. I forget.
She lets Bruce out, but I think he's not right yet. So I think she ends up getting captured and like leaving him.
Oh yes, and he's like just on the ground. We're like, will he? Yeah, and then he at the end of the day he comes. Will Bruce Stover? Will Stover get him? So then she falls. He throws it. He tries to take her eye out. Doesn't work. She throws him down the slide. She gets caught. And she's like inches from the blade.
But like on the sides,
which like serrated,
which we didn't notice when Clyde or whatever her name
Claude gets down. If you try to hold on to stop yourself, there's serrated edges.
There's like saw blades.
Yeah,
like facing upwards. So if you try to stop yourself, your fingers with the gravity of you being pulled down the slide end up like slicing your finger. There's a lot
of little slices in this movie because when Campbell finds the food processor, he's trying to get the knife out. He slices, he's and then the people come like, ruh, 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 and he's like, he gives him the food processor and he has the blade. He sliced his fingers all open, but there's like no one's worried about any antiseptics or any kind of infection down there.
When you're from a place called the Death Zone,
that's the last thing you're worried about. So he saves her. He has a fight with Angus. He throws Angus down. Angus, of course, gets he goes head first, and he's like all happy.
Yeah,
And he goes through the juicer. He gets juiced up. They all drink, and then Campbell all of a sudden gets her out, and he goes nuts as a
he
shit house.
Picks up the mask.
Yeah, he's like, now I'm. And he puts it on her.
At first you think he's like, okay, he's taking control.
Yeah, he's like, this is my broomstick.
Then he goes over and he puts it on her like, this is our new queen.
And he's going nuts, we assume, because the shit's in his brain.
But yeah, we realize that now, like, he's gone from the slug.
So it must bring madness until it finally kills the host that it's in.
Yeah.
And she's like, no, and then he takes the blood. Everyone starts drinking the blood, and she's like, no. So it's interesting the symbolism that up at this point she's theoretically killed both her parents, so it's very Oedipal. You know what I mean? Yeah. And then it's reverse where I guess in Oedipus it's like you kill the father, fuck the mother. This is she killed the mother, and now since she's the daughter, she's trying to have sex, or the father's trying to have sex with her. So it's very Oedipal, and then she's able to bust out of there, and she gets to the top world, and she's running away. Campbell goes after her, and Campbell's all at this point like starting to show signs that he's fucked up from these things. He's like, come back, and he falls, and then it's very like Night of the Creeps match, like Return of the Living Dead. This sequence where it's like remember the boyfriend in Return of the Living Dead? It's like, I just want your brain. So he's running after her, and then at the very end, it stops, and she wakes up and she's back in the server, and she's
in the server, yeah.
And she's talking to the host
processor or whatever.
Yeah, the system operator,
the syspro or sysop.
The sysop, the system operator, and she's like, oh, it was a dream the whole time. And then it's interesting because my wife turned to me and she's like, if it was a dream the whole time, and we reveal that it's Angus, there's a system operator, and she's like, well, why the hell did Angus put her through trying to have sex with her. Why did he add that to just really lay it into her how bad it's gonna be?
Yeah, it's like it at its core, it's a like the grass isn't always greener. Like, be content.
Yeah, with
like
you
however
have.
shitty you feel in your life is.
It's a really messed up version of It's a Wonderful Life.
It can always be shittier.
Yeah, exactly. You need to remember that. And then it's interesting where he's, Daddy, that's you. And he's like, yes, I got out of it. And I'm the system operator. And then he's like, I'm looking for a replacement now. And she's like, of course I want to stay here. This is the right way. This is how we're going to do it. They switch roles. Then he disappears, which is interesting because what happened to him?
I was wanted to see what your take on the ending is.
I don't know.
So this is spoiler alert. We're going to go into an ending because I think the ending isn't exactly clear, but I think I understand it.
Well, it's interesting because he hugs her. He's sitting down on the machine, and he hugs her, and there's a silhouette of almost very like a angelic, like with the machine behind him and how it's lit because it's very like neon white and darkness. It looks very much like almost like Mary holding Jesus on the cross, or it's very angelic, just how it's lit and highlighted around them. So I got a lot of religious connotations there. And then he walks off and he disappears. So I don't know if that means he's plugging back in or he's getting out of it.
He disappears.
And then she
takes her place.
She sits down, puts the mask.
The new system operator.
Yeah.
Which is very like the Tron. Just like in that concept of like
staying in the system.
Yeah, there's characters like that character in Tron who's played like by the grandfather from Blossom, who just like is part of the machine and just kind of sits there. It's very kind of that. But then, so we have that ending, and then there's another ending.
What's the other ending?
Maybe the VHS is different than the DVD because in the VHS, she sits down, she takes her place. But then it cuts back to the room. She wakes up.
Oh, yes. I'm sorry. You're right. She wakes up, and
she comes out. She's in her chair, plugged into Infinicent.
Yeah, because it shows the wall. Because at the beginning of the movie, she got so frustrated, she threw the cup of green sludge her mom gave her against the wall. You see the cup fall on the floor.
Yeah.
She wakes up, and she realizes that all of it could have been a dream because when she said, "Mom, I'm going to go wake you up," and she jumped in her mom's dream, which caused all this uproar, and the system manager like, what the hell are you doing going to other people's dreams? That all could have been a dream. So she wakes up and
she looks over and her mom's still alive.
Fine.
Plugged in. But then there's the big reveal at the end. She gets up, she walks, I guess, to the bathroom.
Oh, yes. And then you zoom up on which they dropped earlier in the movie when they were there. That dropped on the floor.
Yeah.
And it's her father, and it's like a
it's like a monument, but it's like
no, I think it's an urn. Yeah, I think he's got cream in it. But
so the whole thing was a
yeah, but I don't know. But that doesn't mean. It could theoretically mean that, they thought the father disappeared and died and they gave him an urn or whatever. This is symbolic. If someone goes to war and you don't have the body, they still have a monument to the person. Yeah. So for all we know, maybe the father's remains aren't necessarily in there.
Yeah. Well, I kind of take it. I mean, my original thought, I think, when I originally watched it was like, okay, it was the death zone, the outworld was a dream. And then she becomes the system operator or whatever. But then this time as I watched it, and there's that reveal of, like, the urn, it became more to me that, like, even the system operator part with her father was a dream. Like, it was, like, this whole thing was about some weird, like, hallucination, fantasy, dream, nightmare that was all fueled by, like, her missing of her father.
And trying to, like, figure out what happened to him, what's going on, and why, and
so, like,
her frustrations of being unhappy with her world of what's going on. Yeah.
So that, like, even her becoming the system operator was, even that part of seeing her father as the system operator was like this this dream of wanting him to be alive.
And it's interesting too because you take like the themes of The Matrix, which comes out like 6 or 7 years later, where it's to break out of the dream, don't do the status quo, do your own thing. Where this is actually like, at the beginning, we try to do that circa like It's a Wonderful Life, and then all the things get proven wrong. The world is so fucked up. She comes back and she's like, no, I'm going to be part of the norm. I'm going to be part of the group, the establishment. I'm not going to buck the system, and I'm actually content with what I have because at the end of it, like you said, she wakes up. She starts to clean up whatever the mess she made with the sludge, and then she goes, I guess, towards the bathroom, and then we zoom in like we're going into the urn, and it leads us to believe that she's going to stay perfectly perfectly content in this little, what did you say? The ensign's room from Next Generation.
Yeah,
You know,
it seems like it's like a room from the Enterprise.
so that's why I think the redeeming quality for me in this movie. This is why I thought it didn't turn out to be a shitty, low budget, shitty sci-fi movie. Where it certainly was low budget. Let's put all our
it was made
pieces
for
on
like
it.
under $1 million.
Yeah, I thought under like $100,000. You know what I mean? But I mean, there was a budget. Like a lot of the exteriors of them around, you know, it looked like they were near an ocean, and they
just
weren't near an
paying
ocean.
Campbell and Angus Scrimm was probably take up the
A good part of the budget.
A good sum of that budget.
And then then it's interesting too at the very beginning, which I should have noted before we realized it's Campbell. Like he has a sword on his back too, so you have a lot of elements of like, you know, Thumdar the Barbarian, a lot of post-apocalyptic things.
But his weapon of choice is the crossbow.
The crossbow, exactly. So it's interesting that it was such a good idea. It was such an interesting story where I didn't think it was a complete ripoff like Asylum does. It was just taking bits of things and then doing your own original idea with your own. But it's got a lot of symbolism in there that's really weird. That like it's like conformity isn't necessarily that bad, you know.
I mean that's what
you know. It's actually we can probably build this cast. It's the carbon opposite of the Matrix. Where the Matrix is, you know, so popular with bucking the trend and doing your own thing and unplugging from the system. Where this is reinforcing that may not necessarily be the best thing you can do.
Well, it really is like the equivalent of like, you know, at the end of Star Wars, like A New Hope, like instead of it being like instead of it being like them being given medals by Princess Leia, it's like he wakes up and he's like, oh man, like, you know, my farm life is great.
I can't bitch too much about being on Tatooine or whatever with the 2 moons. Like this is whew. What's her name? Aunt Beru.
Uncle Owen and Aunt Beru.
Yeah, they're all right.
They're still alive. Whew. Yeah. What a crazy dream.
Wow. You know, so it's like everything's all right, and it's like, you know, I really liked it. I thought it was really fun. I thought it was good, and that's why I say I hate to keep like being such a proponent of these movies we're picking, but a lot of these aren't necessarily that bad if you can get past them being like this one hard to get. And certainly quality was a factor, but it wasn't the movie's fault. It's just because.
Yeah, well, you know, I think. Look, I think I'd be really surprised if we give movies like really bad kind of reviews.
Yeah.
Because one, it's like we're picking movies that one of us at least, if not both of us, like want to do for this. So obviously, I think most of them are going to be movies that we've seen before, whether they're, you know, we'll end up doing movies that both of us like really love. But there's going to be a lot of movies that are like, hey, I remember watching this in 1992 or whenever, and like, you know, we should think about doing it. So I mean, it's like, I don't think we're going to really want to waste too much time watching a movie that we think we're going to fucking hate.
Yeah, it's true. Yeah.
And two, like, the criteria of like what makes it good for this show is not what makes a movie like good in a conventional sense. You know, like this is definitely like a movie that would have been fucking perfect. Like you said, it could have been like on USA Up All Night or something. I mean, this is a movie that like I didn't watch it at like a sleepover when I was in like middle school or whatever.
But it's certainly up
but
there.
It
like,
definitely could have been.
You know, you're renting like Die Hard, The Dirty Dozen, Commando, and you're like, oh, and we'll get this movie. We'll get Mindwarp.
You see it. You know, that was the beauty, and we have a whole sidecast about VHS.
Yeah.
And like video stores, but that was like the beauty of the video store was being able to walk the aisles and like look
at sections
at
and
a
see
cover and like totally judge a book by its cover.
Yeah, what do you want to do tonight? I want to watch action. Let's go to the action section. I want to do sci-fi. I want to do adventure. I want to do whatever.
And
horror.
You know, even though it's not a movie that like I viewed in 1992, I probably didn't watch it until like 99, 2000 for the first time. When I watch it, its production values, it's the way it looks, like the stock, you know, everything about it is nostalgic to me, even though it's not a movie that is from like my childhood.
And like I said, I think if we had a better quality presentation of the actual film, I think it would have been a little more, we would have saw a little more of the nuances where the money was spent, so to speak. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
With a lot of the production design and the sets and stuff, I think, especially in the darkness, it would have been a little harder it would have been easier to see. So how many jolt collars are you going to give it?
How many? I always forget, what is our scale?
It's either 5 or 10, so we have to pick. If you're going to do 5 jolts, how many is it?
If we're going to do 5 jolts, I'd give this 3.
Yeah, I think, I would give it 3 out of 5 sleepover stars, or I think maybe 5 or 6 out of 10 sleepover stars.
We'll do 5. Let's
Okay.
make it on this episode.
Okay.
We are laying down a rule from
5.
now on.
5
It's
jolt
always
collars
gonna
or
be on
sleepover stars on a 5
It's
tier
going to
system.
be on a scale of 5.
Yeah, I think 3 out of 5 is definitely 3.5, 3.5.
Yeah, I think 3 is solid because,
Yeah.
I mean,
The acting is great.
you got Campbell. I mean, right there, you get like an automatic 2.
I know that's already. It's like the SATs. You get points for having your name on it.
On the scale of sleepover movies, there's Campbell. Appearance by Bruce Campbell automatic gives you at least a 2. Make a joke.
And not only that, you have a rare appearance by Scrimm, which
You
is
get
I
Scrimm.
don't see. I've never. Can you think of another thing out of the Phantasms he's done? I know there's probably one other out there.
Yeah, I know I've seen.
But
at least
for me,
one
I feel like
other
he just
thing.
goes back to his managing a grocery store.
when he's not playing the tall man.
Boy, he's out there in his slow-moving Cadillac, at the grocery store. Make sure you stock those shelves, boy.
But one of the reasons it is unfortunate that this movie is so hard for people to get.
Well, I don't think. Hopefully, in years to come, it won't be. And I think I think it's hard to do a cast and then realize it may be unavailable for people if we pique people's interest, because we're going way down the alley with this one.
we are going way down the alley.
This is so I mean, check YouTube out, check any other places, check eBay, and I would say I wouldn't be surprised in a couple of years you don't see. I offer, yeah.
It's probably a good place to find something like this.
I bet you in a couple of years, or even maybe even overseas, you get a Region 2 or a regionless copy of it. I wouldn't be surprised if you see at least a remaster of it. I'm not talking about director's commentaries and stuff like that, but maybe since Fangoria is attached in, what'd you say, KLM?
Oh, K&B.
K&B, ILM.
IL.
Skywalker Ranch. Since they're involved, maybe you in Campbell you might get maybe the trailer or something, but at least at the very least seeing maybe we'll get like a remaster so you can see this bad boy as it looked if you were to see it in Circuit 92.
And a slight bit of trivia.
Yeah.
And I'm not 100% sure about this, but I'm pretty sure, which is totally typical of us. We're throwing out facts that aren't fact checked. I believe Bruce Campbell met his wife on this movie.
Really?
Yeah. If you read his book, If Chins Could Kill, Confessions of a B-Movie Actor, I believe there's a chapter where he talks about this book, and I believe that his wife worked in the wardrobe department.
Oh, I thought you were going to tell me it was the lead
No.
actress. She was interesting because she had some sort of accent which I couldn't pin down. Wall-E is the name of the movie that at the
Wall-E,
beginning
yeah.
I couldn't remember. Disney's Wall-E, which is a great movie. I love the Pixar movies, but that's the movie where I was saying people were laying around, and our intern just finally got it to us. Thank you. I thought, because she had a weird accent in the first scenes when she's in the room with the mother. She's like, "You don't know nothing," But then the accent went away, and I was like, "What's going?" And then there was no accent. I thought
She
it was
wears
weird.
like a leather bomber jacket.
Yeah,
which is
she had like a MacGyver leather bomber jacket when she gets out and she's walking around. So they left her with some clothes. So I recommend, see if you can
track it down.
Track it down and check it out.
If you are a fan of Bruce Campbell,
But even if you're a fan of the genre, if you like The Matrix, if you like sci-fi,
That's that. But I'm saying if you're a fan of Bruce Campbell, you have not seen this
course.
movie.
Then shame on you.
You need to track this thing down.
yeah, shame on you.
If you're a fan of science fiction,
Philip K. Dick or any kind
Mad
of
Max,
post-apocalyptic
stuff, the Matrixy stuff, the Total Recall aspect. It's a fun movie, and you should really try to find it.
Yeah, it's definitely worthwhile, and it doesn't sound like you'll spend that much money trying to find it.
Yeah. Have a sleepover.
Yeah, have a sleepover. Invite some of your friends over. We're not endorsing alcoholic beverages, but they could always help. They're not going to hurt. And you can always find us at this is Saturday Night Movie Sleepovers, and we're at SaturdaySleepovers.podwits.com. And you can always find both of us as well at podwits.com on the sidecast.
True.
I do another one called Wahoo, the Nick Fury and the Halloween Commandos podcast, which is found at furycast.podwits.com, where me and Brian Zeno go through the Nick Fury episodes, his comic book, and we go issue by issue to see his origins. And Jay, you have a new blues album out as well.
Yeah, you can check out all the information and figure out where to download it and stuff at jblakeblues.com. jblakeblues.com, yes. And you can find both of us at podwits.com. Again, we're here at Saturday sleepovers.podwits.com, and we're on iTunes now, so go Google or type in Saturday Night Movie Sleepovers, and please tell a friend about us, and we're always free, so don't have to worry about paying for anything. And hope you're enjoying this, and come back soon and tell a friend, send us comments. We're taking any kind of considerations of what to watch next. Yeah, I would totally totally take a look at some requests.
Or if you agree, disagree, you think our things are too long, too short, we're talking too much, we're making asses of ourselves, let us know. And we'll change nothing. So we love you very much. Thank you for coming down and giving us a twirl on the record player, and we'll see you soon.
Later.